Morning. Today is the second day, Tuesday, February 14, 2023, at 10:15 a.m. for the first regular session of the Senate, year 2020-23. For the viewing public, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And before we do a roll call, may I please ask everybody to stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Senator Babalta,
Presente.
Senator Cruz.
Here.
Mr. President, Madam President,
Here.
Senator Hofschneider,
Yay.
Senator King Neighbors, Senator Magofnia,
Geiger.
Senator Manglonia Donald, Senator Manglonia Paul, Senator Mindiola. Mr. President, 8 members are present, 1 absent.
Thank you, Clerk. Let the record reflect that Senator King Neighbors is excused from attending this morning's session. Before we move on to public comment, I'd like to recognize Senator Paul Manglonia. Senator? Yes, please.
Yes. Well, first off, I just want to clarify that under Senate resolution calendar, there are some resolutions there. In particular, also is Senate Zone Resolution number 2301, which was referred to the Committee on Federal Relation, and I guess that's on our calendar, but because there's also a similar legislation, but in the form of a Senate bill that addresses the same issue, that we will not act on this resolution. And also, I would like to say that pursuant to Rule 6, Section 2, on the placement of bills, I just want to and I don't know how to do this, either to change our agenda today or to inform the members that I wish to place on our calendar, but because it is a Senate bill, we cannot act on it today until the next session pursuant to Section 2 of Rule 6. So I just want to put a notice that the committee intends to report out House Bill. This is on House Bill 23-6, and it's to amend the law on net metering so that we clarify that education entity actually includes our public libraries. So I understand under public comment, the director, Ms. Naputi, will be commenting on the need for this legislation, which we're very fortunate to have federal funds for, but they cannot move forward unless this law is clarified. So I so move at this point to place on our calendar for next session's consideration House Bill 23-6. So move.
Thank you, Senator Paul. Do I hear a second for that motion to not act on a specific Senate resolution 2301 until the next session, and also to place on calendar House Bill 23-6 for action on the next Senate session? Is there any objection to the members? All those in favor say aye. Nays, motion carries. Those two particular legislations will be acted on the next Senate session. Thank you so much. Now we're moving on to the agenda on item B for public comment. If you please just step up to the microphone, state your name for the record, which entity or private sector company you are representing, and also if you have a written comment, to please hand it over to the Sergeant at Arms after your comments to the Senate body. And state your name, please. You have about 5 minutes to make your comment. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Senate President Edith De Leon Guerrero, Vice President Donald Manglona, Floor Leader Corina Magofnia, and honorable senators of our 23rd legislature. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you here today. My name is Erlinda C. Naputi. I am the Library Director for the Joteng Kizu Public Library, the Sinamay State Library. On behalf of the Joteng Kizu Public Library, I am humbly asking for your full support of House Bill 23-6 to amend 4 CMC subsection 8112 to prioritize net metering to include public libraries and for other purposes. Why should you support House Bill 23-6? The Joteng Kizu Public Library struggles to pay its utility bills each month. The Commonwealth government cannot afford to fully subsidize JKPL in order to satisfy our monthly utility bills. We humbly ask for your support to prioritize net metering to include our public libraries. The only way to reduce utility costs is to utilize renewable energy sources to offset the electricity or other utility required for the operations of JKPL. In FY 2022, the total annual visitors to the Joteng Kizu Public Library was 68,000. In order to keep our JKPL effectively open to the public, we need 3 20-ton air conditioners in order to maintain all our collections. We must ensure that our libraries maintain at 72 degrees due to our collection of the following library materials: 120,000 books, archives, artifacts, computers, servers, as well as an assortment of year-round library programming and community outreach platforms that serve the informational, recreational, and literary needs of our island community. Our HVAC system regulates the temperature and air quality of our entire 20,000 square feet facility. A survey performed by the Library of Congress estimated that as many as 25% of books in its general collection receives good care and is well housed. The survey also stated that collections in tropical countries are often stored in higher temperatures under greater humidity and may be in worse condition. In FY 2022 and FY 2023, direct appropriations from the Sinamay government for JKPL's utility was 0. The financial condition of the Joteng Kizu Public Library has led JKPL to accrue an accounts payable to CUC of approximately 70,000 thus far. While the JKPL is revamping its energy policy to lessen the usage of power, the real problem is the rising cost of fuel in the Pacific Island region. The Joteng Kizu Public Library solar project seeks to implement solar power and photovoltaic systems for the Joteng Kizu Public Library, with net metering between the JKPL facility and the electric power grid of CUC. JKPL proposes to implement a proven solar power system to reduce the dependence on imported fossil fuels, lessen greenhouse gases, promote energy sustainability, and lessen the cost of power to JKPL. The JKPL expects an annual savings of at least 100% in utility costs with solar panels in operation. Energy savings to the Sinamay government will continue to grow despite the continued rise in global fuel and costs. In FY 2022, JKPL's annual utility was 104,000, and net metering result in an estimated net electric bill of zero anticipated dollars over time. JKPL will save millions of dollars in utility costs and utilize the money saved for other essential needs of our community and education entities. Last year, we actively sought congressional earmark funding assistance from U.S. Congressman Gregorio Kilili Camacho Sablan's office for the JKPL solar power system and for furniture upgrades for the Antonio C. Atilic Memorial Library on Rhoda, the Tinian Public Library, Fernando M. Benavente Memorial Library, and the Joteng Kizu Public Library. And I am pleased to report that on December 30, 2022, the Joteng Kizu Public Library received a congratulatory letter from U.S. Congressman Gregorio Kilili Sablan, informing us that our projects were included in the Consolidated Appropriation Act of 2023, was signed into law by President Biden in December 2022. U.S. congressional funding worth 1.6, almost 1.7 million was allotted for the following: 1.2 million for the Joteng Kizus solar power system, and 436,191 for the public library's furniture upgrade for the Antonio C. Atilic Memorial Library, Tinian Public Library, the Joteng Kizu Public Library, and the Fernando M. Benavente Memorial Library. As author Cindy Sheldon said, library stores the energy that fuels the imagination. They open up windows to the world and inspire us to explore and achieve and contribute to improving our quality of life. Libraries change lives for the better. Please support House Bill 23-6 to amend 4 CMC subsection 8112 to prioritize net metering to include public libraries and for other purposes. Undangkul din na si Zeus Moasi.
Thank you, Ms. Napati. Could you please just give the Sergeant at Arms your written comments?
Madam President, I submitted it to your office this morning and so as to Chairman Paul Manglonia.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Sejus Masi. We are still open for public comments for any items on the agenda. Anybody else? Okay, that officially closes the public comment section of this session this morning. Moving on to item C, reading and approval of the journal. I now recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam President. And good morning, everyone. Members, we have SJ 23-01, first day organizational session dated January 9, 2023, on our agenda for adoption and approval, and I move for its adoption.
There has been a motion for Senate Journal 2301, first day organizational session dated January 9, 2023. A motion for adoption, and it has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. Nays, motion carries. Senate Journal 2301 passes the Senate, or is adopted by the Senate. Moving on to item D of the agenda this morning, messages from the governor. Clerk?
Madam President, we have governor's messages 23-01 to 35 on our agenda today.
Thank you. Any comments from the members on governor's communications? I recognize Senator Donald Manglonia.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to point out Governor's Message 23-02. And this was signed into law right before the former governor left office, just to share with the public and to put on record that House or Public Law 22-26 now allows for importation of vehicles that are 25 years old or older. And I know that there are several, at least several of our constituents have brought this concern up, seeing as how it's becoming something that we see a lot of on Guam, and it's time that we also have this here in the CNMI, and this would provide for a much cheaper alternative for our farmers and ranchers, as well as just any residents that are wanting to conserve or save on transportation costs. And so this is a much needed legislation, and I'm glad that it is now law. And so it's just so that the public is made aware. I know they've called me to inquire what's the status on that. Additionally, just to thank the former Governor Torres for signing into law Public Law 2232 to provide for or to amend Division 4, Title 6 of the Commonwealth Code relating to disposition of offenders and sentencing, to provide criteria for imposition of enhanced sentencing of defendants for crimes motivated by hate. And then, this would, again, further provide safeguards for the welfare and the safety of our people by criminalizing crimes motivated by hate, especially when it deals with affecting the, people of different race or color, natural origin, age, ancestry, gender identity or expression, religion, religious practices, disability, or sexual orientation of the defendant. And so, this would, again, penalize individuals for crimes motivated by hate. And so, again, much appreciation to former Governor Torres. Thank you. Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Donald Maglonia, for your comments on those specific two items under the governor's message. Any other comments? I recognize now Senator Selena Babauta.
Thank you, Madam President. I also want to call to the attention of Governor's Message 2314. I want to thank Governor Palacios for sending this bill into law. I authored it in the 22nd House of Representatives. It was originally House Bill 2239, House Substitute 1, which is to amend Title 6, Division 6, Chapter 5, Witnesses, by adding a new section 6503, Witness to Outcry of Abuse. And this particular legislation was already adjudicated in the United States in Ohio v. Clark, U.S. 237, 2015, and provides that children who were abused at the age of 16 years old and below and have told either a reliable adult, teacher, nurse, doctor, that those statements be allowed to be admitted into court as and is exempted from the hearsay rule. And I'm grateful that this now gives another tool for abused children to get their voices heard by our leaders. And I want to thank Governor Palacios for signing this into law. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Babauta. Any other comments from the members under governor's messages? Okay, moving on to item D. I recognize Senator Jude Hofschneider. My apologies.
That's okay. Jesus Masino, Madam President, buenos dias para to the colleagues, primarily everyone that's joining us this morning. I do want to reference the discussion on Governor's Message 2318, and that is reporting out on the signing of Public Law 2233. Reference to this law, members, Madam President, members, the significance of this is not only that it finally created a structure for the medical referral for the CNMI, but one of the addition or amendments that the members of the legislature inserted is with the guidance of the CHCC is the write-off provision for promissory notes that were executed by the agencies over the past few years to our people, our patients that didn't have the means to shoulder the cost of medical care outside the CNMI. And there was a policy that was rendered in perpetuity that the CNMI government can front up, at least the latest information was up to $80,000 of general fund for those individuals that don't have the means to pay for this. Fast forward to the last couple of months and into today, we've been guided by, as indicated in the statute itself. There was no legal guidance as far as the medical referral being a standalone created by law, and therefore this particular action by Governor Palacios certifies that and now puts the appropriate structure of such program. But I want to further read out the page 8 of the law, primarily on item G, lines 1 to 9, and I'll read out. All outstanding promissory notes executed between the Off-Island Medical Referral Program and patients or their personal representatives are receivables of the CNMI government and shall not be the responsibility of the Commonwealth Corporation. Notwithstanding any law to the contrary, the CNMI government shall write off all principal and interest due on all outstanding promissory notes executed by the Off-Island Medical Referral Program and patients on or before the effective date of this date. The Department of Finance shall issue a notice of the promissory note write-off to patients or their personal representative within 180 days of the effective date of this act. So that in itself, Madam President and members, gave directions to our people that have been resorted to sign off on promissory note without actual legal authority by the agency at the time, that we gave them a reprieve from further paying this obligation. So I want to thank Governor Palacios for signing this into law, and I want to thank the members of the legislature, and also want to recognize former chair, Representative Tina Sablan, for piloting this legislation. This is Osmosi, and I yield back.
Thank you, Senator Jude Hofschneider. Any other comments from the members under governor's messages? None. Moving on to item E, communications from the judiciary. Clerk?
Madam President, we have three on our agenda, 2301 to 03.
Any comments from the members? There's no comments. Moving on to item F,
We have two.
communications from the heads of executive departments.
I'm sorry, we have two, Madam President, 2301 and 02.
Any comments from the members? Anybody? No comments? Item G, communications from the House.
We have five on our agenda, 2301 to 5.
Any comments from the members? Okay, moving on to item H, communications from the Senate.
Madam President, we have 29 on our agenda, 2301 to 29.
Members, any comments? None? Item I, communications from Washington Delegate. Clerk?
We have none.
Item J, unfinished business.
None, Madam President.
Thank you. Members, under pre-filed bills, initiatives, local bills, and resolutions, I would give the opportunity for each author of particular legislation to read out formally your bills, legislations, or resolutions, or any local bills, and carry on with anything that you have authored. So let me start with Senator Jude Hofschneider.
Thank you, Madam President. Formally introduce Senate Bill 2301, and that's to create a CNMI term pension plan and for other purposes. And if I may, Madam Press, can I just go ahead and
Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. And item 9, Senate Bill 2306, to amend 4 CMC subsection 1503H to authorize the respective casino commission of each senatorial district to regulate and maintain the maintenance of the poker and pachinko machines and for other purposes. Senate Bill number 2307, number 9 on the item, to establish window tinting regulations in the Commonwealth of Northern Marianas Commonwealth and for other purposes. Number 10, Senate Bill number 2308, and to amend 2 CMC subsection 3551 to change the expenditure authority, management, and control of the solid waste sub-accounts for the 1st and 2nd senatorial district to the mayor of each respective municipality and for other purposes. And number 11, Senate Bill 2309 is to repeal and reenact 1 CMC subsection 2502 to clarify the rank and file at the Department of Public Safety and for other purposes. This is Osmosi, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Jude Hofschneider. And I now, I'll go last. I'll recognize Senator Poe A. Manglona to formally introduce your legislations and carry on with all the others that you have also on the agenda. Thank you.
This is Osmosi, President. Just like to formally introduce Senate Resolution 2202, respectfully requesting the U.S. Department of Treasury to investigate the expenditure of funds for the ARPA. And Senate Bill 23-22, amending 1 CMC subsection 8265 A and C and section 822. Senate Bill 2223 to establish a supplement to home investment program at CEDA. And Senate Bill 22 2324 to establish the same program at Northern Marianas Housing Corporation. And Senate Bill 2225 to authorize the use of the East Harbor facility on road as an alternate port. And I'd like to formally introduce also Senate Local Bill, which is not listed there, Senate Local Bill 23-01 and Senate Bill number 23-28, both on casino commissions, one for Rhoda and one for the CNMI. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Poe. You actually went ahead on the agenda, but I'll go ahead and accept that introduction of two local bills to be listed under your introduction of bills. So I will now go ahead and recognize, let's see. Senator Donald Manglona to go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Formally introducing Senate Bill 2313 to strengthen the mandate of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands Archives at the Northern Marianas College. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Donald Manglona. I now recognize Senator Karina Magofnia.
Thank you, Madam President. Formally introducing Senate Bill number 23-15 to amend the Commonwealth's family law statutes to provide for greater clarity in the administration of divorce proceedings and protection orders and for other purposes. Also introducing Senate Bill 23-16 to amend the Commonwealth Disaster Prize Freeze Act of 1996 to provide for a flexible response to the economic challenge posed by the COVID-19 health emergency and for other purposes. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Magofnia. I would like now to recognize Senator Francisco Cruz.
Thank you, Madam President. This is to officially introduce Senate Bill number 23-17, and this is to amend the provision pertaining to village and agricultural homesteads in Rhoda, Tinian, and Saipan, and to specifically prohibit the Department of Public Lands from revoking a village or agricultural homestead permit after it is approved and issued because the applicant met all the requirements, including that the applicant has no interest in land at the time the permit was approved and for other purposes. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Cruz. And I'll now recognize Senator Selena Babauta.
Thank you, Madam President. Formally introducing Senate Bill 23-26 to amend the compensation of the Commonwealth Casino Commission members and for other purposes. Thank you.
Babauta. And now I shall recognize myself, Senator Edith De Leon Guerrero, under Senate Bill number 2302 to amend 4 CMC subsection 2103 to enhance the Marianas Visitors Authority's promoting capabilities in attracting tourists to visit the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Also, Senate Legislative Initiative number 2301 to propose a constitutional amendment to Article 11, Section 6 of the NMI Constitution. Senate Bill 2303 to prohibit the purchase of leased vehicles paid by public funds by elected officials, but allow an exemption for a government agency to purchase the leased vehicle strictly for the agency's use. Senate Bill number 2304 to mandate that public swimming pools be equipped with approved covers. Senate Bill 2305 to transfer the administration of the CNMI government's group health and life insurance from the Department of Finance to the Office of Personnel Management. Senate Bill 23-10 to establish guidelines for the CNMI's membership in the Pacific Islands Development Bank and for other purposes. Senate Bill number 23-11 to amend 1 CMC subsection 8142 to prohibit moving a civil service employee to a temporary position for political reasons. Senate Bill number 23-12 to waive the repayments of the CNMI Scholarship Memorandum of Agreement Promissory Note. Senate Bill 2314 to provide for quarrying controls and reclamation plans in the Commonwealth and for other purposes. Senate Joint Resolution number 2301 requesting Governor Arnold I. Palacios to reassess the exempt status of the CNMI in participating in the disadvantaged business enterprises pertaining to the Department of Transportation Financial Assistance Programs. Senate Bill number 2318 to clarify that local legislative delegations have the power to issue subpoenas and subpoenas duces tecum and for other purposes. Senate Bill 2319 to amend 1 CMC subsection 2803C to remove the payment of land compensation judgments by the Department of Public Lands. Senate Bill number 23-20 to prohibit individuals from providing confidential information and to prohibit fiduciaries from acting against the interests of the beneficiaries. Senate Bill number 23-21 to amend 4 CMC subsection 5611 to restrict the business license renewal unless administrative and court judgment orders are satisfied and for other purposes. And lastly, Senate Joint Resolution number 2302, requesting Governor Arnold I. Palacios to task the Division of Revenue and Taxation to collect all business gross revenue tax owed to the Commonwealth government. And now we move on to item M on the agenda, reports of standing committees. I recognize Senator Babauta.
I'm just wondering if there was a misnumbering of Senate bills pre-filed. It seems that we went from Senate Bill 2326 to Senate Bill 2328, which was introduced on the floor by Senator Paul Manglona, and I'm wondering what happened to Senate Bill 23-27.
Thank you for calling that out, Clerk. Can you clarify that? Short recess, please. We're going to go back to item L on introduction of bills, initiatives, local bills, and resolutions, and I will officially introduce my Senate Bill number 23-27, a bill for an act to establish a public corporation for planning and to ensure consistency and continuity with sustainable development and smart, safe growth guidelines known as the Planning and Development Authority to repeal Public Law 20-20, the CNMI Planning and Development Act of 2017, and for other purposes. Now we're moving on right along to item M, reports of standing committees, and I now recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam President. Under reports of standing committees, we have none.
Thank you, floor leader. And item N of the agenda, reports of special conference committee, floor leader.
Thank you, Madam President. No, we have none for item N.
Thank you. And now we're on item O of the agenda, resolution calendar. I now recognize the floor leader to make the appropriate motion for passage of two particular resolutions on the resolution calendar. Floor leader.
Thank you, Madam President. We have resolutions calendar for action. First one is Senate Resolution number 23-2, introduced by Senator Paul Manglona, respectfully requesting the U.S. Department of Treasury to investigate the expenditures of funds of the American Rescue Plan Act allocated to the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Members, I move for its adoption.
President,
Recognize Senator Paul.
okay, maybe I did not clarify my original motion, but I meant to include this also because I'm working on a legislation, a bill that kind of addresses this concern, and rather than passing the resolution and then discussing the bill, that we both entertain this in the committee level before we pass that.
Okay, short recess, please. Council? So that is the motion of Senator Paul to refer back Senate Resolution 2302. And do I hear a second on that? Any objections from the members? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Nays. Senate Resolution 2302 is officially going to be referred back to a committee. Thank you very much. Floor leader on Senate Joint Resolution 2302 for the appropriate motion.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Journal Resolution number 23-02, introduced by Senator Edith De Leon Guerrero, requesting Governor Honor I. Palacios to task the Division of Revenue and Taxation to collect all business gross revenue tax owed to the Commonwealth government. Members, I move for its adoption.
There is a motion to adopt Senate Joint Resolution number 2302. Do I hear a second? Discussions? All those in favor to pass Senate Joint Resolution 2302, please say aye. Nays? Senate Joint Resolution 2302 officially passes the Senate this morning. Thank you, members. Okay, we're moving on to item P under bill calendar. Clerk? Floor leader, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam President. We have none.
Thank you, Floor Leader. Item Q, petitions, memorials, and miscellaneous communications.
Madam
Clerk.
President, we have 10 on our agenda, 2301 to 10.
Is there any comments from the members? None? Moving on to item R, announcements. Floor Leader.
Madam President, no announcements.
Thank you. And we're down to the last section of the agenda under adjournment. I will recognize the floor leader to motion for the adjournment of this session.
Thank you, Madam President. I offer a motion to adjourn this session, subject to the call of the president.
Thank you, floor leader. Do I hear a second? All those in favor, say aye. Nays? I guess nobody wants to stay. This session is officially adjourned. Thank you so much, members.